Okay, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so welcome everybody. Today is October 18th, 2023. Welcome to the Yummy Market Review. Gene, we are recording, so we're all set there. Any announcements that you want to make before we get going?
No, other than join us on Stock Analysis Friday for YouTube every Friday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, and that's on our TradersCoach.com YouTube channel. And that's about it.
Okay, cool. I guess put a link up there to it, Gene, if you get a chance during the presentation today. All right, so let me go through the administrational items. These are all the fun stuff we have to go through, like the risks involved in trading. There are risks. It is possible to lose some or all your money trading the financial markets. That's why we need to use risk control and always trade with money we can afford to risk. Also, too, I don't know your personal situation, so any of the stocks that we look at or the forecasts that I'm recommending, run those by your financial advisor and come up with a plan on whether to trade those stocks and bulletproof your portfolio in case the market sells off. Work with them on that. I would definitely suggest getting a hold of them for your long-term stuff because, as you know, we think the markets are going to sell off at some point, but probably start by the end of the year. And I think it's got a little more time to the upside here, but it's with every day that passes and every week that passes, it gets closer and closer. So definitely get a hold of them and talk to them about that. Past performance does not guarantee future performance. And remember, we deal in a realm of probabilities in the markets. So you don't always win. And a lot of trading is 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but you want to make money on that 1 step that remains. All right, so a couple books that can help you on money management that I have out or right in front of you here. Gene, if you can put the link up also to in the chat area to the books, our book page at Amazon. That would be great. I got The Art of Trading 2nd edition coming out, and that book is going to be, I think, one of the best books I've written. Very comprehensive, a lot of good stuff in there. You know, my first book came out in 2008, so we were due for an upgrade. Wiley, our publisher, got a hold of us to do that book, and I was glad to do it. And also, too, we're going to cover the software in that book, since we've the new software in that book and how we've been using it in conjunction with the art software. All right, so today is Wednesday, like I said, October 18th. Well, at least we don't have an FOMC minutes meeting. What are your thoughts on interest rates, guys? You think interest rates are going to remain flat, go up one more time before the end of the year? What do you guys think? And if so, how much? How much more of an interest rate hike? Think they're going to leave them pat? What do you think? All right, let's see. Flat. Jim is saying flat. All right, Gene put the link up there for the YouTube page. All right, and Gene, if you could put the link up there for the books, that would be great too. People can start pre-ordering that 2nd edition of The Art of Trading. All right, let's see. She's on it. Okay. All right, one opinion. That's it. Jim, that's it. One opinion. Anybody else? Al, no opinion on interest rates? What do you think? Lowell, Marone? Oh, Marone has an opinion. Well, let's see it. All right. One more. Al thinks one more by the end of the year. One more. All right. Marone the same. Continue up, Lowell. Yeah, I think from what I can see out there, it looks to me, of course there's no guarantees to this, that 25 basis points before the end of the year, one more time. I think that's, unless something happens. But I think that's the way it's looking now. That's the general consensus. All right, I'm not sure exactly when it's going to happen, but that's kind of the idea. All right, but it's not going to happen today, that I can tell you. So we got NBA mortgage apps out. That comes out every week on Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Housing starts and permits. Housing's kind of pretty much at a standstill. There's not much supply, but you know what? There's not that much demand now as well. So it's kind of like, caught between a hard place and a rock, so to speak. So it's kind of just hanging right now. Difficult time, though. If you want to sell your home, all right, you've got to allow enough time for that, and there's just not a lot of buyers out there, okay? All right, Gene just put the link up for the books. Thank you, Gene. All right, EIA Petroleum Status Report coming out at 10:30. We've got Beige Book coming out, Treasury International, and a couple speakers. All right, Thursday, October 9th, on the economic front, we got jobless claims, Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, existing home sales, leading indicators, EIA Natural Gas Report, Powell, the Fed speaks, Fed balance sheet. We'll see if Powell says or hints to anything on the interest rate front. We'll have to see. And then Friday, usually the lesser of the days in terms of economic announcements. We got a couple speakers in the weekly Baker Hughes rig count that comes out on Friday. So I don't see too much really that's going to throw the markets off. I think more what's going on in the Middle East is going to overshadow any of that. All right, so when we look at charts, you're going to see me using the trading system called the ART system. Many of you already have it, so good. And then we have the scanners and the risk control software. And if you want to learn more about that, you can visit our website as well. We also created a brand new website for the ART software called appliedrealitytrading.com, so you can check that out when you want to. All right, so here's the latest chart as of Sunday, and don't forget we post these charts in the Yummy area on Sunday so you can have them before the week opens up, and you can download the full-size charts too, so be sure to do that along with the written report that we do for y'all. All right, so basically if we kind of walk our way back to the left side of the chart, you're going to see the high here that we've talked about before, and this high occurred, of course, in 2022, beginning of. And that we classify as the end of the major bull market. It was the fifth wave on the daily, and it looks like the wave 3 top on the weekly. So what comes after wave 3 on the Elliott wave analysis? And that's a correction. So then we did sell off as being part of that correction and part of a new trend down on the daily chart. And that created 5 waves down, which was the change in direction. And that put in a bottom there, and the market rallied with an ABC correction, so that was a B wave. All right, and then the market sold off again with 5 more waves down and completed C wave. Now, normally corrections are usually just a zigzag ABC correction. The problem with this ABC is that the C wave went nowhere near the qualification zone for a wave 4. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means either it's a minor 4 and wave 3 is still in progress, all right, or it's part of a more insidious correction, part of the long-term spectrum of a major long-term complex correction. So that is what you're in store for, we think, or I think, at this time. So then we had a rally off the bottom, a C wave, and kind of going sideways, put one top in here over the summer, and then has drawn down here like this, and it's still kind of in this territory here. We'll look at the live chart in just a second. So we could have a D wave top, which is another wave sequence in a complex correction. And if that's the case, that means that we could be an E wave. But we have to have E wave prices deteriorate more for us to really think that we are with more confidence in an E wave. Because we still technically could be in a D wave, make one more high, and then roll over at that time. So I want this thing to go below this bearish support at 31,429.82 before I start classifying D wave top as being done. And that has not happened yet. Now, the market's still hanging around 33, and I still see some bullishness in the NASDAQ. So I don't think the NASDAQ's done, and I think this sell-off will be so significant that it will affect the NASDAQ as well as all the major indexes. So I don't think it's quite there yet, because the NASDAQ's going to make some more highs. Then that means probably it'll keep the Dow, which is what we're looking at here, also up. I don't think it'll break new highs. I don't think it'll go above the 2022 high, but I think it could keep it in this more of the same kind of area here and kind of drift for a little while. So we'll see what happens. any event could come along that could change this and cause the market to abruptly sell off. So that's always a possibility. But, look at all that's going on in the Middle East right now. And the markets have remained fairly stable during all that. So that was enough to really knock it off its rocker, I think, but it didn't do it. So that's kind of an indication to me there's still some bullishness consensus left in the market. And until that works its way out, we're going to have to wait for this thing to sell off. Now, with that said, all right, going into the week, we had a bearish PTF. For those of you that don't know about the PTF indicator, this indicator has a 75% probability. And basically, when it's red, it indicates that more lows are coming. And basically, what you do here is look at this and find the lowest price in that red area, which is this little sell-off support level there. And the PTF saying that markets should return and go below that. So it doesn't tell you anything about profit taking before that happens, but that's kind of what it's indicating. So it's kind of nice to know that when that is red, that you don't have a bottom in. That's the main point. All right, any questions on this chart? We'd like the prices to go below C wave before we start jumping up and down and saying we're in E wave. Gene, if you would not mind, just everybody that has their mic accidentally on, can you just go ahead and mute them? I think Frank's got his mic on. I think Al's got his, which is not a problem, but you guys can cut those on after I'm done, okay? Lowell has his on, and we can just hear them typing and stuff. So I just want to make sure we get a good audio on this. All right, any other questions on this? Any questions? All right, so kind of clear. I mean, really nothing kind of new for you guys that have been with us for a long time. This has been pretty much what we've talked about every time we've met. So the chart's pretty much the same. And then the 60-minute chart changes a little bit more every week because it's a shorter time chart. But going into the week, we're expecting some selling. We kind of pulled up to this profit target zone here, which is a wave 4 on the Elliott wave. So we kind of thought we'd see another move down. It looks like we're starting to get that now as the markets have sold off a little bit more. All right, here's the bigger picture on the Dow. And basically what you're looking at here is a fib retracement level that's important. And this level was drawn in based on a 13-year or off a 13-year bullish Elliott wave 3. So when you draw in a fib retracement, you anchor those points at usually a wave 2 and a wave 3. At least that's the way I do it for the wave 3 to get the wave 4. And when you do it that way, it puts this target at a 70% probability in that if you're going to get a correction off that type of Elliott wave 3, in this case the 13-year bullish one, then 70% of the time profit taking and so forth ends up in that area. So that's kind of what we're expecting. So the market, here are these A, B, C's. Remember that from the previous chart that we drew? So there they are. There's D. And here we are still kind of hanging in this level. Now, here's the COVID low. Okay, way back here. And that created a bearish PTF indicating situation here, which means that on the next correction, there is a high probability we will take out that low on the COVID low. And that low is 18,213.60. So the fib level of retracement between 38.2 and 61.8 is on the Dow, 23,273 down to 1514. And with the COVID low having a red PTF, my target is between 18,000 and 15,000 if this goes into a more major correction. If this correction is over and we head on back up and take out this high, then this wave 3 actually is still in progress. And the reason for that is these retracement levels came nowhere near what they need to put in a wave 4. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at now. All right, so my feeling is that we're going to get this correction All right, and you know, I think probably we should start to see some more selling towards the end of the year. That could be very telling. So we need to take out those support levels. So that's the forecast. Now you have the support levels for the reality. So if we go back to that chart 1 second here again, then you know the forecast, but for the forecast to be valid, we have to take these levels out. All right, so if we don't do that, then the forecast just remains a forecast, okay? And so keep that in mind. We got to take those levels out for this forecast to have a valid reality, okay? So that's kind of where we're at. And likewise, you know, it hasn't taken these levels out either. So those are other ones to watch. All right, so that's kind of what I wanted to show you on that. Let's take a look here at the current state of affairs on the market. So I've got the Dow up on 3 charts. This is the 60 short term, okay, daily here and weekly here. This is the scanner, so you don't have to worry about that right now. That's how we find stocks to trade. But when we open up the Dow Jones, okay, I mean, look at that, okay? We had the COVID low, and then we had another high after that. Notice the COVID low produced that red PTF that we're keeping an eye on. So even if we make one more high before that sells off, I don't think that's going to happen, but if we do, you can see the market is on borrowed time for the most part. All right, markets, you know, at this particular point, I look at this as an aberration, okay? That was, you know, not a normal situation that kind of occurred. So that was all part of 3 here. So we're kind of due for a pullback, all right? We've had a big run up for quite some time, and that's kind of where we're at now. And again, you know, trees don't grow to the sky forever, and neither do markets. So we're kind of due for this type of correction. We haven't gotten a big enough pullback in a systematic way yet. Again, I'm not really counting COVID because it's not really a systematic situation and created a V-shaped bottom. And that was, I call that kind of an aberration in the sequence of things. And probably a minor 4 inside of 3 if this is a 3 top. So a lot of white space here for this thing to go down, right? All right, and do a correction. So after the correction, healthy correction, all right, then we should see a move back up higher. So I think the healthy correction's due, all right? And let me know what you guys think on that, but that's kind of where I'm coming from on that. And if we look at the current daily chart here, and again, that has the 2022 high as well. All right, so we got a red PTF, so we're still kind of should take this out before we see any bullishness return. So we'll certainly see what happens with that. We had a bullish trend line here that was broken. All right, and now I think we're kind of at a critical point because we're getting set up to see if this current little bit of a trend down here, all right, if it breaks this trend line, what's it going to do? Is it going to fall down again? That's very bearish, all right, or is it going to accelerate to the upside, which would be bullish? Or do we get this meandering type of market back and forth? All right, I think nobody knows exactly for sure, but my bet is that we're coming down again with the red PTF. And also too, this looks like an impulsive wave down here with some correction here and a down there. So I think probably a little bit more sell-off is due, and we'll see. We definitely need it to pick up some steam by the end of the year and take out those support levels before I get too excited about this correction developing into a major correction. All right, any thoughts out there? Any thoughts? And if you have any, you can certainly bring them up at any time. All right, so Al's asking me to take a look at a stock for him, OKTA. And Al, what are you doing with this baby? Are you thinking about it? Are you long? What are you doing with this? Yes, thinking about it. Okay, so on this stock here, I can see why you're thinking about it. We had a big move down and a nice basing pattern here, right? And you've got green here, green here, green here. No, yellow's okay, yellow's neutral. You can go long or short on yellow. And green here. So there's no red. So that's a good sign. All right. So this is also interesting. Let's open up that daily chart a little bit more and just see where, okay, so that's saying it needs to go above here, that pricing here. So that's around 86.55, a little higher. Let's bring up a data box and let me put it over here for you. So the PTF is saying we need to go 75% probability we're going to go above there. That's 90.73. Let me just see what these babies are. These are 91s. So I'd like it to break this area here, but you know, you got a green pyramid. Okay, this is a minor, so that's not technically a bearish trend. That's just a correction or sideways motion in a trend. Looks like you had an impulsive wave here in the short term, ABC correction and moving up. I probably think we're going to break this. So an early entry is not bad here, Al. Not a bad one at all. All right, the next question is where is it going? And if that's an impulsive wave down, you may get a chance to trade the retracement. So you're looking maybe at a target of 133 to 189. So yeah, you could go long on that. I'd say the earlier the better. All right, try to put your stop as low as you can on this one. Least down here at the pyramid. All right, but if you can afford to go lower, depending on your account size, that might not be a bad idea as well, okay? So that one looks pretty good. All right, good job. Those are hard to find, okay? So that's nice, okay? All right, so KR, let's see, Lowell's looking at KR. Now let's see what we got cooking on KR, excuse me. Trade channel. Yeah, this is kind of similar to the Dow a little bit, isn't it? In that we've kind of been meandering back and forth. You can see it here, top in here, a lot of white down here. So we got red here. All right, red here, a little bit of green here and red here. So I don't think I would do a long position on this at this point. And I probably, see this is definitely higher than this. So this was a minor 4 here into a 5. So it's kind of due for a big correction. So if you wanted to think about a short trade, I'd be more apt to do that. I would wait to the, for this to turn red, okay? So I'm thinking KR is actually not a bad candidate to put on a watch list for a short trade, okay? You definitely got the shorts here, all right? And I would just wait for this to turn red. There's a little bit of a movement up here. So when that turns red, this means that will probably be ending and that's the time to go short, okay? So maybe you can get a little bit better price for a short trade, but yeah, I would think something like that. Okay, and then let's see, DG. Boy, both of you guys found some pretty good ones. All right, so we looked at this one before, okay, and it has just kept going down, down, down. We were looking at this as a probable stopping point, but then things changed, okay? This turned into a big move down that's not over yet. So you don't want to go long on this at all, okay? Not now. In fact, we can remove these here because now we have the red PTF, okay, on the weekly chart. So definitely, if you're short, go ahead and stay short until the PTF turns yellow on the weekly. But other than that, it's also a little late to get short, okay? So the pyramids did a beautiful job on the weekly chart as well as the daily and the 60-minute chart to get you in a lot earlier, okay? But don't do anything with it now, okay? DG is not a bullish trend up yet, not with a red PTF here. Doesn't mean you can't get a retracement. You could take a retracement trade on this, but you gotta be really careful. Look how big the momentum is still here. So any move up is going to eventually be met by heavy selling. That's what that means. So it's a more speculative trade than actually waiting for the retracement. All right, so that is that. USO. Yeah, USO is kind of funny because it's perked up, but it's got a red PTF on the 60. All right, so here's a red PTF. If it goes green, then that's a good sign. Now, with that said, we were in this position and recommended this position a long time ago, so we're still long this. All right, but if you're thinking about entering in now, this concerns me, the red PTF. So it's either going to be wrong, and it may be wrong. It's wrong 25% of the time. Hit the target zone. All right. My only problem is there's not that great of an ABC here. All right. So this B, and we'll give way to C, and then make this correct. Possible. Or is this A, small b, C, and it's done, and then this will be wrong and turn to green. Hard call, okay? I like this. Why I like getting in early, because I don't have to make that call. I'm in it. I just keep my stop below the fib retracements and wait for it to reach the target. All right, so we're bullish on USO. As I said months ago, I felt that oil was going to be way above 100 at some point, and it seems like it's working its way up there. Okay, so I'm still bullish on that. But again, if you're thinking about going long, I'd wait for this to turn green, because you may get one more pullback. You don't have the luxury of having your stop far away from it like we do that got in earlier. So it doesn't really matter what the volatility is right now, because we're just going to hang with it. All right, so that is that one. And then UNG, similar scenario, I think, in that we like UNG, okay, but it's kind of pulled back a little bit. There's no red PTFs, and it's kind of in this range here. This pyramid to the downside was voided out when prices went above it, so we kind of like it. But here's the problem, is that even though we like it, long on it, put your stop here. The problem is if you get into the sideways motion, it can last for quite some time. So it can basically, you won't be stopped out if you have your stop set low enough, but your capital will be tied up while that's happening. So your risk to return will go down the longer the capital is tied up. Now, if this thing does what I think it's going to do, which is go up to this target zone here, then you're double your money and you'll be okay. So if you're in it, you just got to hang there. If you're not in it yet, I'll tell you what I would do. I would take a look at this chart, and I'd wait for prices to get above the $8 mark, okay? That way it's broken out of the channel and you're not stuck going sideways in it any further. So I'm hopeful that that'll happen sooner rather than later. But for new people considering the UNG, which is the ETF for natural gas, that may be a better strategy to wait that one out, okay? So that's kind of where we're at now. Any others, okay? I got just a couple minutes left. Now don't forget, we have client support webinar coming up in half an hour. So if you have any questions on software settings, training at all, any trading questions, you can certainly go there, okay? We do that every week for our clients, and that is free. All right, Alexander, how are you doing? Okay, SPOT. So Alexander, we're thinking about having another tutorial. I know you came to the last one. So we're thinking about having another one of those at some point, probably in the new year, I think. So we'll let you know when we do that. All right, so spot for a long. All right, well, I can certainly see why you like spot for a long. I mean, you look at the PTFs, and there they are. Tricky thing about the PTFs is it comes down to where you're going to put your stop, okay? If this indicator's 75% right, okay, but you put your stop here or even here and got stopped out, all right, then this could rebound and go higher and still be right, but your trade is gone. So everything with the PTF type trades come down to placing your stop at the right level so the volatility doesn't take you out before the PTF has a chance to work, right? So keep that in mind, everybody. So I would try to put that stop as low as you can, and since the PTF is here, if you put it here, your risk to reward is not good. okay? It's a little above 1 to 1, I'd say. But if you could put it here, all right, then you have a really good risk to reward. That's like, I would say almost like 4 or 5 to 1. All right, so what do? Well, ideally, here would be best, right? It's kind of close, isn't it? So you got to be careful and look at the lower time frames here. And notice we have red here, all right, and this almost going red. So there's no way I'm going long on this right now. All right, I'm going to wait for this thing to finish coming down and turn around. And these indicators got to go to green. This has got to be at least yellow or green before I can consider a long trade on this. So it may indeed come down and take that bottom out and then turn around, and then this will be a better place for your stop, right? So there's no question a long trade can be considered here. The question is now waiting, I think, until the momentum that's actually, you can see the bearish price bar on the daily, but you can see the movement down on the 60. Wait for that to be over and wait for things to turn around. Let's see how low it goes. And who knows, maybe this bottom will hold, okay? And it'll turn around, and then that'll be a double bottom. Then you can go and you'll be in great shape then too. So I don't think you need to rush into it, but I do think it's one you can watch, okay? All right, great. All right, well, that wraps it up here for today. Great session today. And I got to tell you, guys found actually 2 good ones, OKTA and KR. Not too bad. All right, so keep an eye on those support levels like you have been. Keep doing that because, until that market breaks those, we have more of the same. Okay, that's all we have for right now. And we'll see you next week, okay? So thank you so much, everybody. Have a good one. And hopefully I'll see many of you at the client support. Gene, back to you.
All right, well, great session today, as always. And I'll just post this link again for the YouTube Stock Analysis Fridays. Again, for those of you who haven't joined us there, feel free to join us every Friday. It's really an awesome session. We got a couple of great picks today, and Stock Analysis Friday, we always get a bunch because that's a whole hour spent on looking for new trades. Plus, you can have Bennett review the trades that you're in, and he'll give you his diagnosis on what the target zones are, et cetera, et cetera. All right, well, everybody, thanks for joining us, and you all have a great day, and we'll see you in client support in just a few minutes.